or no, Jane Mason. These will be your arts to impose the ways of peace, to show mercy to the conquered, and to subdue the proud. And I think that that's very much at odds with the vision that Adams is advancing, which is saying, no, it is not our job to beat down the proud. That's the Latin is like debellare superbos, like to remove the power of war from the proud and excellent, to really defeat them and totally remove them from battle, and to show mercy to the conquered. Almost a R2P responsibility to protect style vision of imperialism. I think this would have been quite familiar, say in the Victorian age, of like, hey, we're going to run an empire for the betterment and civilization of humanity. Adams clearly sees some parts of the world as more civilized than others,
Yes.
and also sees some forms of government as better than others, but does not believe that that means that the United States has to go forth and slay those monsters
And
on be
impose that form of government by
exactly,
force.
exactly. Well, and he sees it as a great danger to the project of the United States, which again, he sees as being above all an exemplar of what these principles can achieve. And so he's saying, I think that line, she well knows, America well knows, that by once enlisting under other banners than her own, were they even the banners of foreign independence. So essentially, looking at some of these revolutions happening against colonial Spain in the Americas, looking at the rebellions of the Greeks against the Turks, which a Christian nation against, a Muslim nation, which was seen by many in the West as kind of the epitome of despotic, tyrannical, abusive rule, that those are not the causes of the United States. That we would recommend the general cause by the countenance of her voice and the benignant sympathy of her example, that we would be well wishers to their freedom and independence, but champions and vindicators only of our own. So we would fight for ourselves, for our freedom and our form of government. And he warns that if we did that, we would involve, if we became involved in all these other conflicts, we would involve ourselves beyond the power of extrication in all the wars of interest and intrigue, of individual avarice, envy, and ambition, which assume the colors and usurp the standard of freedom. So he's connecting this to the idea that, hey, people will sometimes use the name of liberty and proclaim that they're liberating their country, but actually be, changing who's in charge of oppressing it or extracting from it, or just simply not be champions of a form of government that we should say, ah, yes, let's spend American blood and treasure to establish it.